Welcome back to another episode of the Light Hour live stream. The Light Hour live stream is a Litecoin dedicated live stream that we host on the Flipping Finance page every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 5 p.m. EST. Albeit the final weeks of each month because we take those weeks off in order to rest and just completely detach from crypto. Even though I don't do that, I still end up doom scrolling crypto Twitter because, like, why the freak not? Uh, but yeah, besides that, today we have something very important to do, of course, which is we're going to be going through LTC updates because there have been some pretty interesting developments that's been happening on Litecoin. So I need to get you all caught up on that. And also another thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing LTC live sentiment watch. So we're going to be going through crypto Twitter, and then we're going to be watching what people have to say about Litecoin. So what the Litecoin community and the non-Litecoin community, what are people thinking about Litecoin at this moment? Because I believe it's a very great market insight for you to know what the community is expecting, what people are expecting, and just understand how to, I don't know, it's information. You can use information for whatever you want to use information to do. Probably how to manage your expectations or how to set your expectations and all that. And just to have a general understanding of what people are really thinking, I think it's pretty important. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play the intro of this stream.
Why do you keep speculating in a Why do you keep speculating in a space like this? Within scams and ruggers and things. Damn, you be getting liquidated by pretending inefficiency in the music tokens like this. Why did you quit all that and give me your bags and shut up the somebody? Shut till it's just a lie, it's just a real call I can do say. Open your eyes, embrace the light. Come, let's hang around under the light. I'll have it for you. Embrace the light, feel the summer wild. So look at the light.
Embrace the fur.
Why do you keep speculating in a space like this? Within scams and ruggers and things. Damn, me, you get liquidated by pretending inefficiency in the music like this. Why did you quit all that and give me your bags and shut up to the somebody? Shut till it's just a lie, it's just a real call I can do say how deep in your eyes. Embrace the light. Come, let's hang around under the light. I'll have it for you. Embrace the light. Feel the summer wild. So hot the light.
Embrace the mother. And we are back after that pretty long break where I showed the intro. We're actually back. Apologies that y'all had to wait that long if you were here and you had to wait through that. But we're going right into what we are supposed to do today. So again, quick recap for those that are just joining. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be going through LTC updates. So we're going to be looking at the breaking news about Litecoin, and also we're going to be going through. We're going to be doing a live Litecoin community sentiment watch. So we're going to be seeing what people are actually thinking about LTC at the moment, live on X. So buckle up, enjoy the ride. So as we begin, I would like to shout out 84 million as is customary with my live streams, because 84 millions are the ones that make it possible that we get the Litecoin merch that I wear on streams. So if you want to get cool Litecoin merch, then of course you should go ahead to 84million.com/shop and order yours. So 84million.com/shop. I'm broadcasting their website right now so you can see it. If you want Litecoin merch, if you're a Litecoin supporter, you're a Litecoin hater, whichever one you are, 84million.com/shop is the place you need to be so you can get cool Litecoin merch. Now, what I'm going into, well, of course, we're supposed to do today, which is the first one, Litecoin breaking news. Now, there are a lot of things that have been happening with Litecoin. And if you're caught up with what's going on X, then you should be pretty well caught up on what's going on, right? Because it's pretty interesting. And just to begin, the first thing that happened, and I'm going to be sharing my screen in a second, which was an update that came about today. Pretty huge news, pretty important stuff, which is, ta-da! I have to adjust the position of my camera so that there can be space for you to see me. And now you'll gotta watch me do that live. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, now, what's happening? You can see right on my screen that the Bitwise 10 crypto index, BITW, reviewed in a recent 10K filing that as of December 31st, 2025, the fund holds more than 33,000 Litecoin. Now, this is pretty interesting. Very freaking interesting. Now, Bitwise 10 crypto index ETF is, just as the name suggests, a crypto index ETF. So there are multiple cryptocurrencies inside there, as you can see on the screen, right? You can see there's Bitcoin inside. There's Ethereum. There's XRP. There's Solana. There's Cardano, Chainlink, RDRO, Litecoin, Avalanche, Sui, Polkadot, and those are the assets that are there. Now, the way an index works, of course, which a lot of you might already know, is it's just a basket of some of the strongest asset within an asset class. And what they do is that they give them weighted positions. So the number one asset will, of course, have a much larger positional allocation compared to the number 6 asset. And that's how it works. And so you can see that because of that, you can see the allocation that's been going into these assets, and you can be seeing exactly how much in US dollars that has been going into all of this. So to begin, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin. So how many Bitcoin does the Bitwise 10 crypto index ETF possess as of today? Well, about 8,836 Bitcoin. So 8,836 units of Bitcoin, which is currently sitting at a fair value of about $773 million, which is pretty interesting. So that's for Bitcoin. So when it comes to Litecoin, oh my God, I'm getting harassed by a mosquito, sir. When it comes to Litecoin, you can see that they hold about 33,920 Litecoin. And you can see that the total cost of it's about $4 million, and it's currently sitting at about 2.6 million dollars, which is as a factor of the market dip. But you can see there quite clearly that they're accumulating Litecoin. This index is actually accumulating some units of Litecoin, and that's why it's pretty important to have Litecoin in indexes like this, because they can act as passive sources of allocation. That's what they can act as, and that's why they're pretty important, right? Because then people essentially get to just invest in these things, and then these funds just go actively, buy it, and then the investors in this assets, these indexes, do not have to bother themselves with doing the active works of buying everything. And so they're pretty important. And Litecoin is in a couple of this. Besides the Bitwise index, Litecoin is in a couple other ETFs, which makes it even more exciting. And some of them are pending, some of them are not yet being traded. But these developments are pretty interesting to see, pretty important to see, because it just shows that Litecoin is actually getting adopted in the places that matter. So this is pretty bullish, if you ask me, right? Pretty freaking bullish. And again, remember, this is a 10 cryptocurrency, 10 asset ETF. So we're going to be monitoring how this is going to continue to evolve, but looks pretty interesting to me at the moment. So we're going to be going into the next Litecoin update, of course. Now that is by far the most bullish Litecoin update, but we're going to be going to the next one, which is about yay, Litecoin is on. Oh, I couldn't read that. Litecoin is on Lit in 2026. So this is from the Litecoin Foundation. In just the last 2 months, the network has flawlessly processed $11.5 million worth of transactions, adding up to a total of 380 million transactions in LTC's lifetime. No hype, but real world use, actual adoption. It just works. This is pretty huge. I mean, Litecoin, 380 million transactions. That is 380 million people used Litecoin as a means of payment. This is pretty huge. This is actually like a symbol of not just strength, but resilience. This is a network, this is a coin that essentially launched with no marketing budget. There's no marketing budget, there's no team to push it besides just individuals, independent individuals that care about the project and aren't being paid by the project to do so. They aren't being paid by the protocol to do so. And one of those people, of course, are one of those entities, the Litecoin Foundation. Now, the Litecoin Foundation is a nonprofit, and it's, of course, one of the people that head the Litecoin Foundation is Litecoin's founder, Charlie Lee, or Litecoin's inventor, as I like to call him. But I'd like to, again, iterate the fact that Litecoin's inventor, Charlie Lee, did not receive a single penny from the protocol pro rata, and did not receive a penny from the protocol for free. He literally had to mine his coins just like everyone else. Makes Litecoin the way it is right now. It just makes Charlie Lee, his involvement in the project is just as much as any other community member. Is an interested party. That's what he is. So when I say Litecoin is really not being pushed by any insiders, I really mean it. Litecoin Foundation, just a group of people that are interested in seeing Litecoin win and are not being paid by the protocol. So these are independent people trying to make Litecoin succeed. And of course, there's a broader Litecoin community that consists of so many other important and pretty wonderful people that are pushing for Litecoin's adoption. 380 million transactions, 380 million sends and receives, 380 million people. I mean, there are millions of people out there that have used Litecoin for at least 1 or 2 transactions in their life. This is pretty significant. That's pretty significant because it just shows that Litecoin continues to grow. Litecoin continues to win. Litecoin continues to make the strides that it actually should be making. And this is a positive development. This is something that is worth celebrating. And that's why I think this is a very exciting update. 380 million. That is incredible. 11.5 million transactions in just the last 2 months. Litecoin is literally on the level that most people are just not aware of. And we're gonna go to the next. Of course, I got all of these bookmarked. Um, and the next one is Litecoin's use via payment processor CoinGate.com is continuing to grow. So hitting about 17.5% for the month of February, moving up from 14.4% in 2025. Now, this is huge. This is huge. This is huge. This is huge, guys. This is huge. Now, that's a big fucking bump right there, right? So, of course, LTC lost the third spot to Tron, but we grew from about 14.4% transaction share to 17.5% on CoinGate. This is huge. This is growth. This is the adoption we're talking about. This is grassroots adoption that's happening when it comes to Litecoin. These are things that are very interesting. These are very significant developments we want to continue to see as Litecoin supporters. And yep, it just shows that the adoption metrics, they are real. Real people are using it here. And look at that. Look at that growth on CoinGate. It's pretty nice to see. So we're going to be going to another one, of course, which is, of course, just a reminder that Litecoin is MiCA compliant. So if you're in Europe and wondering what crypto fits within the new regulatory framework, LTC is already there, so you don't have a problem with it. So the MiCA compliance is just the markets in crypto assets compliance structure that, okay, they have think of it as the EU's official rulebook for crypto, and no, not every coin makes the cut. Yeah, Litecoin does. That means it's recognized as legit under EU law, which is meaningful, significant. Oh my God, I need to take this off. Sorry. All right, now I can see. So, yeah, think of it as the EU's official rulebook for crypto. And no, not every coin makes the cut. Litecoin does. That means it's recognized as legit under EU law, which is a meaningful signal of credibility, stronger consumer protections, legal clarity, and a coin that's built for the long haul. And that's pretty interesting. Something that you have to pay attention to, something you have to note. MiCA compliance is pretty important for assets that are actually being traded in EU. So I think it's pretty significant, and you should make of that what you wish. It's pretty positive for Litecoin. So another update that happened as well, notable exchange Kraken FX introduced fixed rate crypto loans for its pro users. So pro users of Kraken FX can now use supported cryptos, which now include LTC as collateral to borrow funds almost instantly. And this is pretty bullish because this ties in to the news that we also got just a while back, just a little time before that, which is about 2 to 3 weeks ago, which is a news that showed us that Coinbase actually accepts Litecoin now. I believe there are about four or five assets that Coinbase accepts as loan collateral for loans, and LTC is one of those coins. It's very interesting to point that out. And now having Kraken do that, that's pretty dope. Litecoin, again, growing independently on its own with a completely decentralized community, is back in this level of integration. We're being integrated into some of the largest exchanges ever as collateral. This is just so freaking massive. I think it's a much bigger story than a lot of people are talking about. And so, of course, another quick update. LITEVM from LITEVM, the testnet is coming soon, so you can see that. LITEVM is for everyone. Litecoiners wanting to earn yield and explore Web3. DApp users searching for a vibrant new ecosystem. Builders looking for a home with proven staying power. Institution recognizing Litecoin's next chapter. LITEVM is where these worlds converge. So you have to understand that LITEVM is a Litecoin omnichain. So it's a Litecoin virtual machine, an inner platform that essentially brings all the Web3 features to Litecoin. So it's going to be a pretty interesting development. And of course, their testnet is coming pretty soon. So yeah, I got to watch out for that one. Anyways, we got to go to the next one. Oh, so yes, this is the other one. This is what I just hinted previously. Crypto exchange Coinbase has expanded its on-chain loans product offered via DeFi protocol Morpho at an LTC and 3 others. Oh, it's just 4 assets that Coinbase are accepting as eligible collateral without selling their holdings. So I believe this is the link to the article. So we just have to go ahead and look at the article itself. I think this is pretty interesting. This is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. We gotta look at it. All right. So this is the full article from the blog. Coinbase adds XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, and Litecoin as collateral for on-chain loans via Morpho. So we're gonna go into the main article. Crypto exchange Coinbase has expanded its on-chain loan product offered via DeFi protocol Morpho at an XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, and Litecoin as eligible collateral. The expansion allows eligible U.S. customers, including those in New York, New Yorkers. That's pretty freaking dope. It's so hard to get anything to be accepted by the state of New York when it comes to something that's crypto related. I am not adding my email. Get the freak out of here. Yep. So, where was I? The expansion allows eligible U.S. customers, excluding those in New York. Oh, I read that wrong. Apologies. The expansion allows eligible U.S. customers, excluding those in New York, to borrow up to $100,000 in USDC by pledging the 4 crypto assets as collateral without selling your holdings. Imagine how liquid Litecoin has to be for Coinbase to actually accept it as collateral. It's pretty insane, right? How underrated Litecoin is by the broader crypto community, but that's going to change in due time. No matter what you're holding, you should be able to leverage your crypto without having to sell. Jacob France, product lead at Coinbase, told the blog. Being able to borrow against more tokens means more opportunity to make your crypto work for you. And it's an exciting preview to a future where all kinds of tokenized assets can be used to build better financial services. So Coinbase first launched the on-chain loan product last year, supporting Bitcoin and later Ether. So users can borrow up to $5 million in USDC against Bitcoin and up to $1 million in USDC against Ether. The product has already seen more than $1.9 billion in loan originations to date, according to the company's data. Now, the loans are enabled by Morpho lending protocol on Base, with Coinbase providing the user interface to access the protocol. Coinbase charges a one-time fee each time a customer borrows, even when, oh my God, what happened? Where did these come from? Where was I? Coinbase charges a one-time fee each time a customer borrows, even when adding to an existing loan. Interesting, which is applied to the loan principal, according to its website, Nights. Now, Coinbase's on-chain loans have no fixed repayment schedule, provided borrowers maintain a healthy loan-to-value ratio to avoid liquidations. Borrowers can draw up to a 75% LTV ratio for BTC and ETH loans, with liquidations triggered at 86%. Interesting. While XRP, Doge, Cardano, and LTC loans offer up to a 49% LTV ratio, with liquidation triggered at about 62.5%. So what this essentially means is that you can essentially, if you're trying to borrow loan against your Bitcoin, you can draw up to 75% of your value. So if you have $1 million, you have $1 million worth of BTC, you do not want to sell BTC because you think bottoms in and you want to actually get some cash for that BTC without selling your positions, then you can actually give your BTC to Coinbase and you can get $750,000 worth of BTC. But should your Bitcoin value drop to 860,000, you're gonna get liquidated. And it's the same for Ethereum. If you get $1 million for Ethereum, you can do up to $5 million for Bitcoin. But for Ethereum, $1 million gets $750,000. And if it drops to $860,000, you get liquidated. Now for XRP, Doge, Cardano, and LTC, the LTV is 49%. So which means if you have $100,000, which is the maximum, you want to get a loan with your XRP, Doge, Cardano, or LTC, you can actually get $49,000, and you do not get liquidated until your loan actually drops below 62.5% of the value of your asset. So it's a pretty good deal in my opinion, because that kind of like helps protect you from the market volatility, kind of, because then your liquidation price a little lower. I think it's good. I think it's bullish. I mean, when you have layers and layers of leverage, it can be a good fuel for speculative force. Pretty cool, right? Anyways, so let's continue. LTV measures the size of a loan relative to the market value of the posted collateral. It rises as collateral falls in value or interest accrues, and falls when collateral appreciates or the loan is repaid. It's pretty interesting. So you have to note that. Now, interest rates are variable and set by supply and demand on Morpho. Loan proceeds cannot be used to trade on Coinbase under its terms. So you cannot use the loan proceeds to buy back a coin on Coinbase, which makes sense, right? Because what some people do is that they essentially just bundle these things. So like they put $1 million worth of Bitcoin and get $750,000 and then buy more Bitcoin. And now you have $1.75 million worth of Bitcoin, which they take that 0.75, $750,000 worth of Bitcoin and loan it again to get whatever 75% of that is, and just repeat the process until they max it out. And it's like a form of leverage without actually like taking a margin position, a futures contract, which is a funny way to do it, because like severe volatility can just wipe all of that out. So it's pretty reasonable that Coinbase does not allow people to trade the loan proceeds on their terms. And so the on-chain loans are available to verified users in the US, excluding New York, of course, with broader international access plans. So you know how you're going to deal with it, right? It's what it is. You have to find your way to deal with it. Now, so look at that. Look at the tokens mentioned in this article. XRP down 2.7%. Cardano down 6%. Dogecoin down 4.6%. Litecoin showing some out of this world strength, only down 0.54%. Pretty interesting. So yeah, so the author Yogita Kathari. It's pretty interesting to see that. So yeah, that's a pretty decent article, right? You have Litecoin in this exclusive class of about 6 assets in total, 4 just added, of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Dogecoin, Cardano, and of course, yours truly. And you can now use them to borrow loans on Coinbase. And Coinbase is the leading cryptocurrency exchange in the US. So this is pretty significant. Like for something to get on Coinbase, the standards are so freaking high. So for them to be able to accept an asset for collateral, they have to have so much freaking trust in it. I think this is freaking bullish, both perceptionally and market-wise. Fundamentally, I think this is pretty bullish for Litecoin. So let's go and look at whatever is next for us to look at. So, yes, and now this is the final one. My friend, this is not a Litecoin update, by the way, but this is a Litecoin update, kind of, right? So my friend Earn Not Gifted, who is a contrarian thinker and one of the most crucial people in our community when it comes to helping people understand how the markets works and presenting his own very robust thesis on Litecoin and the role it plays in the monetary space, he dropped his book. So it's a book that encapsulates his entire thesis. And just a little background on Earn Not Gifted. He used to run a channel called Why Litecoin. This page used to be called Why Litecoin before it was changed to Earn Not Gifted, which is a pretty pretty nice name. And so yeah, he's been actually dropping a lot of very interesting fundamental insights on exactly what Litecoin is and why it is the way it is. And you can see that this is the book, The Second Bitcoin: From Mania to Valuation to Parallel Systems. And of course, Master, another very important person in the community. Yeah, The Second Bitcoin just arrived, order here. And of course, this is a very interesting. That's a link to get the book. Of course, I'm gonna be buying this. I'm gonna be buying the audiobook or the PDF format. I hope I can get both as well. I'm gonna try to buy both of them because most likely I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook because that's how I prefer things. I prefer reading things with audiobooks. And shout out to AI. Some AI can now read out your freaking. You can just copy a chapter and it reads it out for you. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, an audiobook is pretty nice. So I'll probably get that. And if I can't get both, then I probably get the PDF version. But it's pretty interesting, because it's a book that, and you can see the audiobook here. You can see that that announcement. And so, yeah, the paper book is also out as well. So the paper book version, you can get it, and pretty interesting. I think if you are a Litecoin supporter, this guy is a pretty useful resource when it comes to understanding what Litecoin is really about. And you can see all that love and all that support he's been getting from the community since he launched the book. So that's it's pretty significant, worth checking out. So I'm gonna be buying this, and you should probably do, because Earn Not Gifted, that's the name. Pretty dope guy, pretty wonderful thesis he's been dropping, and he's been sharing with the market and with the community. So that's a pretty interesting milestone, pretty significant milestone for him, and one that I'm proud he's been able to achieve, and also one that I believe that will bring a lot of great value to we the audiences, because knowing what he drops with regards to just the videos he does, you're gonna know the book has a lot of quality. I can just tell. You can tell. And yeah, with that being said, I believe that's all I have to do with regards to the live sentiment watch, with regards to the LTC updates. But we're going to be going into the next segment of this, which is the live sentiment watch. So I'm going to be changing to a different account. I'm going to be switching to a different account to do that. And the reason why I'm going to be switching to a different account to do that is because my account is so heavily tied to the Litecoin community. So whatever I do, of course, it's just like everything I see whenever I search Litecoin is heavily curated, and what I see is just mostly my people, the Litecoin community. That's what I see. I see their posts. So I want to just jerk from a different account, personal account, so I can see from the perspective of neutral people, because this account, I'm not too Litecoin heavy with it. So let's just do that. So we're gonna check LTC. So we're gonna see what people are really thinking about LTC itself. Right. There's my boy Mini Million. God, I'm getting harassed. Whew. So there's my boy Mini Million. So LTC compared to Zeke before Vertical, I think we're very close. I like that. I like Million. This guy's pretty dope, and he's always positive. I don't think anything can take this guy's I don't think anything can take his conviction away. It's just so wonderful. I really like it. I love seeing when the community is like this. And you can see this fractal, which is essentially making the case that we had this, bump into a dump, and you can kind of see I think that the curves manifest themselves more clearly with LTC than with Zeke. You can probably argue this as kind of like a false double top, if it could be called that, before this blast, and this can also be seen as a false double top. But this one kind of like bled in to lows that no one was expecting. So Who knows how high that's actually gonna go. It's pretty interesting. We're gonna continue to watch that, of course. Pretty freaking interesting. But I think LTC is ready. I think LTC is always ready. When it's ready to fly, it's gonna fly. And by the way, we're not gonna be doing this for very long. So in about 10 minutes, we're gonna be done with this. I showed up late to the stream because I switched back to OBS. So before I'd use StreamYard, which I understood its interface, and so it was pretty easy for me to figure that out. But OBS has been a big challenging for me, and I know, this is a pretty strange thing to say, but it has been a bit challenging for me. So I'm gonna have to learn it now that I'm kind of doing the full switch to OBS. I'm gonna have to learn how to use that platform because I believe it has better functionalities than StreamYard does. However, my PC might not be able to run it smoothly, so you're not gonna be able to endure a bit of a glitch with regards to the video quality for a while. And I'm working on upgrading the laptop. And once I do that, when we resume the next batch of Lite or live streams, everything's gonna be way smoother than before. So you have to pay attention to that. So okay, so now we're back. We's Beware Scammers. This is such a wonderful name. Watch LTC. Same signs as when I called Zeke at 35 to 750. I am just the messenger. LTC gets to like I'm not gonna be happy if LTC gets to 1,000 something. I've been saying this for quite a while. God, Jesus, I've been saying this for quite a while. I don't think this thing gets to 1,000 and stops. I think it's trying to give us a feeling that it gets to 500 and stops. And you can essentially see that with this LTC BTC chart that was posted by CryptoSurf. And you can see that LTC BTC, same stillness you feel before the tide turns. So essentially what you see here is Litecoin, Bitcoin, and you can see how extremely oversold we are. The RSI kind of zoomed in, and you can see how and we look like we're about to break to the upside when it comes to the RSI. So it's pretty interesting to see, and we're kind of like knocking the door of the support spiral of support when it comes to Bitcoin. So it looks like once it flies, it's probably gonna take its first stop at 0.005, but I doubt it. I think it's just gonna swing and go. Litecoin's probably gonna go up, dick swinging, and just fly to the freaking sky. Who knows? Oh, of course, and I've already read this with a Litecoin update. So Litecoin is 380 million transaction. Pretty interesting. If LTC pops to $70 from here, then it's then to 100 right after. Prepare your balls for the rally. Okay, that's from Maximilian as well. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. I really like that. Now, this is from Bogley. It could be a powerful pump when we break this. Oh, nice. Nice. Bro, this is like a brutal this is a capitulation fractal. I don't know exactly what pattern to call it, but this was just forced capitulation. Like they just wanted to get people out of this shit. And they sure did. They sure did. They've gotten way more people out of this. It just sucks to see. So of course, we can see from Minimillion, Litecoin's current network value sits at around 8,000, while the LTC price is at $50. This is a huge value gap, which has to close with the next altcoin season, like Dogecoin did in 2021. So it's pretty interesting. So that is, of course, the master's Litecoin value model. Litecoin to $8,000. Is it possible? I believe so. Anything is possible in crypto. Will it happen this cycle? It's yet to be seen. It's crypto. Again, these things move by orders of magnitude. It's very hard to call a top for them because you just never know. And technically, Litecoin does not have any barriers with regards to its relationship with Bitcoin or its structure, the way it's structured against Bitcoin, you know, to, in a way that it can hinder it from getting to those valuations in a way that silver can get there, because silver is structured much differently from gold. Does that make sense? I doubt that makes any freaking sense. Okay, this is Shelby, of course. So this is another person who's bullish on Litecoin. Oh no, this is November. What the flip, bro? Like November 23. What? No. I need recent. All right. Okay, so now that's a scam freaking post that we're probably getting here. Okay, so we're probably getting a lots of promotions here. Okay, we've got this from Litecoin Tracker. So the hash rate update. Oh, we're about 3.18 petahashes even with the dump. That's pretty cool. Daily reminder: you do not own enough lits. Oh, so that's Lite Strategy, which is a fund, treasury company for Litecoin. So yeah, you probably do not own enough lits. Yeah, I gotta know that. So yeah, it's pretty. Space is pretty dry. I'm not gonna lie. There's not a lot of us left. It's just mostly those that really care, like Bog and Million, and oh, we still got the Flanders tweeting out. I knew the Flanders, a pretty cool guy. LTC Litecoin bought some corn today. Was hoping it would quickly touch 48.50, but somehow crypto didn't dump like equities. It will probably dump now that I bought some though. The fees are reserve busted. Need swaps on Litecoin. Litecoin. That's pretty cool. Yeah, now that you bought, you're gonna dump the market. Yay! Good one, bro. It's pretty freaking cool. Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at something else. Okay, so this is from TradingView. Okay, I believe it's just an account name, TradingView. LTC analyst target price for tomorrow. Discord. I'm not. No one's fucking clicking your Discord, bro. Okay, so this from CryptoRail. Just a reminder, but bro, nobody's looking at all of those your coins you're shilling. Sorry. Oh my God, there's just lots of spam. We are in real bear market territory, bro. Like, we are in real bear market territory. If you're looking at this, I'm not seeing a lot of analysts. I don't know if it's just my FIP. It's just really people that I know that care. Okay, so this is it. Added a bit of spot. I believe it's added a bit of spot LTC here. Strong accumulation after weeks of downside. Might be time for some relief here soon. No leverage play, just spot. Tricky market to trade with leverage. Okay, that's a pretty freaking cool one. And this from 84 million. What's the second Bitcoin? Oh my God, I really like this. I can't wait. Oh my God, I'm liking this with my main account. I can't like all these things with my main account. My FYP will be flooded with Litecoin. Fucking hate that shit. Oh my God. All right, so LTC Litecoin. No, this is retweeting Wiz. I believe there's not much more I have to say with regards to this, of course. Okay, so this is one from Litecoin Chat. I really like Litecoin Chat. Let's have a great Tuesday, Litecoin Chat. It's pretty cool. Nice. I really like Litecoin Chat. It's pretty nice. By Sats.LTC. Pretty cool guy. He gave me one. I used to use it as my FYP, but I want to use it as something else later. And so, of course, we got CryptoRail. CryptoRail's been getting pretty loud recently because Litecoin's kind of been following what he's been predicting. And ultimately, he is now predicting a big dump, which, I mean, over the last, how many months now, he's just been predicting a big dump. I don't know if he has a big short position against Litecoin or if he has sold a lot of Litecoin and is kind of wishing for things to go lower for him to buy. I don't know what the case is, but I know for a fact that he's pretty bearish on Litecoin and is kind of expecting it to dump. So, let's see what he has to say, and then we're going to call it a wraps with regards to Sentiment Watch. All right, so I'm going to start that from the beginning, and I'm going to have to zoom that in so y'all can see it on the main screen, and let's just go. Okay. So that's CryptoRail. I want to see how many impressions he has with regards to that. I want to see how many impressions he has with that post. So that's 438 views and 2 likes. Not a lot of people like to hear what he has to say, but a lot of people look at it. Pretty interesting dynamic. I believe with that being said, I'm done with the aspect of market sentiment watch. Now, what is my takeaway from this market sentiment watch? Streets are dry. Streets have been dry for quite a while. There's not a lot of people that are still left talking about Litecoin or posting about Litecoin at the moment, and I think it might continue on for a while. You just have to understand that this is just that stage of the market. Crypto is a market that is driven very heavily by emotional sentiments, so it is pretty important to understand this. It's pretty important to factor it in as a matter of the fact, as a part of the reality, as how it just works. It's just how it works. And yeah, it's pretty important that we understand this. It's pretty important. So it's a bit sad because, especially in times like this when the market price is down, we that understand how fundamentally sound it is, how fundamentally strong it is, and how robust of a coin and of a network it's got, we become muted, right? And we become muted not because we want to be muted, or because we dislike it, or because we don't want to talk about it, but we become muted because, like, at this stage, we kind of sound like idiots, right? And like almost all my friends, if not all my friends, at least all the ones I've spoken to are out. They're out. It's sad. It's sad. They've gone out. I sound like a freaking idiot. And I think that's kind of like the dynamic that's playing here when you see like not as much people used to talk about it as we used to see before. That's the dynamic that's playing. Another dynamic that's also playing is just the fact that you see that there are also people who just are exhausted. You know, people that actually care, and not just people that now think every other person's in need. People are actually exhausted of everything and are quitting. And it's sad. It's very sad to watch. It's very sad. I've seen a lot of Litecoin supporters, who were massive bullish, massively positive, like 4 months ago, 5 months ago, and all of a sudden, right now, a lot of them are just hating on Litecoin, just mega bearish, mega negative. It just sucks to see, bro. It sucks to see. But it is what it is. It is what it is. It's just how it works. It's how the market works. It's a cruel market. It's a cruel market. It's a cruel game. It's the price you pay for an opportunity that has the exponential factor, the ability to change one's life. It's not going to come easy. But it becomes so difficult to explain this in times like this. So I think times like this are very good opportunities for those of us, and this is something I'm going to be doing personally, those of us that produce content for Litecoin, to be able to take a step back and refine what we're working on so that we can produce better output, so that we can produce better quality stuff. Because with time, all of the speculative mania is going to come back. All of the speculative interest is going to come back. People are going to get interested in Litecoin again. It's going to be huge. It's going to be glorious. It's inevitable. The signs are everywhere. That's probably why it's more difficult, because the signs are everywhere. It's just so obvious. And so for as long as the market stays frustratingly low or choppy or whatever it is currently doing, the longer we have time to be able to take a step back and just work on what we're working on and refine and produce a very wonderful stuff when the interest finally comes back, which I think is something that Earned Not Gifted has been able to do with his new Litecoin book. And so I implore more of us to be able to take this time. I mean, there's not much you're losing with regards to potential platform growth, because there's not much potential platform growth happening in this period. So if there's any time you can take as a sort of like break to refine your stuff, it's now. So we can actually all do that. And especially those of us also who already feel exhausted and are feeling like we should just pause what we're doing for a little bit. Go ahead, try, refine what you're doing so that you can have better stuff once the interest comes back. Is that something we can do, right? Because let's be honest, the interest is gone from crypto, it's gone. And it will be a while before this interest comes back. We're flatline with regards to people that are actually posting about this stuff. We're flatline. And it's not just Litecoin, it's crypto in general. So it's pretty interesting to see all of this. I'm going to be making an announcement with regards to the Lite Hour live stream in two streams, like 2 streams after now. Because I'm going to be making, because I mean, I've said in a few streams before that we're going to be ending this first half of the Lite Hour live stream at episode 42. So I'm going to be making further announcement with regards to that on the day of episode 42. And there are also other content styles that I'm now working on, and I'm planning backstage. And I'm going to make all those announcements the same day on episode 42, so you're going to know what to look out for. But yeah, a lot's going to be improved. I'm going to take advantage of this period that we are to refine a lot with regards to the content I put out. And so you got to stay tuned for that. Market's down, interest is dwindling so low. Take the opportunity and build. That's a very important thing that such conditions can offer us. Now, with that being said, I've been your host, Raphael. This has been the Lite Hour live stream. Remember, the Lite Hour live stream is a Litecoin dedicated live stream that we host on the Flipping Finance page every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, 5 p.m. EST. So you do not want to miss the Lite Hour live stream. So you go ahead and subscribe to this channel and follow our page on X if you're watching this from X, or you're joining us from the link that's posted on X. And I'm gonna see you on the next episode on Thursday, and of course the subsequent episode after that on Saturday, before we go cook ahead of season 2 of Lite Hour live stream. And with that, I'm going to say bye-bye, take care, and have a wonderful rest of your night. I believe it should be night everywhere, or